DEI and other politics of a similar nature is essentially poison when it comes to games. For the most part, gamers were willing to put up with this for some time, but now it's gotten to the point where people are just like, you know what, enough. If your game is going to be pushing that agenda, if it's going to take us out of the experience of playing a video game and getting immersed in this world in order to be lectured to, well, then I'm just going to go play something else instead. And as a result, many studios and companies have been losing hundreds of millions of dollars trying to push games with this type of messaging in it. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a good example of that because Sweet Baby Inc. was involved with that, trying to push DEI. As a result, the Steam group was created, Sweet Baby Inc. Detected, which warns gamers of potential video games that are using outside consultants or video games that have DEI elements pushed in it. And for the most part, many studios are starting to pick up on this and think like, well, we were just doing this because we thought that was the popular thing to do and it was going to make us money. And if it's going to lose us money, then we're going to stop doing it. Other companies are figuring like, well, we still want to push DEI, so let's just be a little bit more discreet. And then you get some of the more true believers within the industry who are just like, you know what? We don't care if it's going to lose us money. We want to evangelize DEI and other identity politics because this is what we believe in. So we're going to be loud and proud about it. And they're only doing this because they're not actually gamers. They're tourists and they're not even interested in making quality content. In fact, they don't care if the whole video game industry dies because to them, it's just a platform to push their own propaganda. And that is no more prominent than we're seeing with the senior writer for the upcoming Black Panther video game from Marvel, which she actually said she wants a t-shirt that basically claims all gamers are bigots or most gamers are bigots, because I guess it's being a little bit coy about it. And so they can always say like, oh, I'm not saying all. The ones who are trying to evangelize DEI elements are the good ones, but pretty much everyone else, like the 95% of gamers who don't want this stuff in their content, are the bigots. And this is coming in response to a comment that Alyssa Mercante made on X. And just kind of a little background, because I like how this is going full circle. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was advised by Sweet Baby Inc. for their game. As a result, Sweet Baby Inc. Detected was created on Steam to warn gamers of that. Sweet Baby Inc. did not like that, so they tried to get that person taken down. So people were pushing back on Sweet Baby Inc. Then Alyssa Mercante came in and wrote an article for Kotaku defending Sweet Baby Inc. And then after that, she basically became the lolcow of the internet for gamers. And she just kind of revels in the fact that she's actually getting attention for a change. So she just leans into this whole persona. And that's why she made this post. I don't support all gamers. Most of you are bigots. To which one of the senior writers for the upcoming Black Panther game responded to her comment by saying, "Need this on a shirt." And this just encapsulates what I was saying about how pretty much a lot of these people who are evangelizing this message are tourists within the industry, because a true gamer wouldn't be saying this type of thing. Or maybe that's just the no true Scotsman's fallacy. I'm willing to accept that, but I don't think a gamer would actually be saying this type of thing. Is this someone who actually puts their activism first and foremost and cares about quality content second? And this is exactly why a lot of gamers are rejecting this stuff. It's not that people are just mad because like, oh, you're putting black people in this, or you're putting women in these games, or anything else of that nature. No, it's because people working on these games are pushing quality of the game second and pushing their own agenda first. And that's not really a recipe for making good content that people want to play. Some people will try to defend these games like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and say like, no, the reason that game failed is because of bad gameplay design and other things of that nature. It's like, okay, sure, but that's because the people that they're hiring to work on these games aren't necessarily the most qualified. They're just the most qualified people who check the right boxes. And this post by Alexa Ray Corriea, after she started getting a little bit of heat for all this, she made her account private. So it just goes to show she just said something stupid. She understands it's stupid, yet she's going to try to hide from it. But it really doesn't matter. People got wind of what this doing. But this is just one person at the studio. Is that really a testament of how people are at that studio? And I would argue probably, because this isn't the first time that someone at that studio has said something horrendously stupid like this. Corriea is the latest red flag for the upcoming Marvel's Black Panther game. The game made headlines earlier this year when it was discovered that Cliffhanger Games hired former Sweet Baby Inc. employees, so it all comes back to Sweet Baby Inc., Danny Lawlanders, who admitted to discriminating against white people during a presentation for Game Devs of Color Expo 2021. Okay. In the presentation, Lawlanders states, Valley Day has a team of all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. Imagine for a second here, if a white person says, we just hired a bunch of white people for our team. We didn't want to hire any black people because we wanted people to feel safe. Can you see how that's incredibly racist? There's no way anyone would have a career in the industry if they made a statement like that. But apparently for someone like that, if you're of the right race, then you can say those type of things and get away with it. And I know the best way for the environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me, basically making a claim that ethnic diversity is not in fact a strength. She's saying it's actually a hindrance and that you need to have ethnic homogeneity in order to actually make people feel safe and that produce the best quality stuff possible. Yes, that's really what she's saying. And she's not admitting to being the racist one. Well, she says she's racist in a series of posts when people were calling her that. I think it was just kind of like, okay, fine, I'm racist, if that's sort of in that manner. At least that's the tone I got from it. And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying, she said. I'm saying sometimes it's hard to work with white people because they think that something may be okay, but it was really a microaggression and no one wants to deal with that while you're trying to make a game that they love. And who is the cause of all that? Like, seriously, if you're saying like, oh, well, we can't work with them because then they might say something that's a microaggression. So basically you're saying you cause an environment where people have to walk on eggshells in order to function with each other. And you're like, yeah, that's not really good for our work environments. And then stop doing that. And you say a microaggression, that's just saying someone saying something that you didn't like. And it could be something as innocent as like, oh, I like what you did with your hair today. They would consider that a microaggression because like, oh, why? Because of whatever X, Y, and Z. I don't know how to justify it, but people like her, that's kind of what they constitute as a microaggression. It's not like people are just like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you got offended when I used the N-word publicly. It's like, that's not what's going on. She basically cultivated an environment or helped be one of the people creating an environment that causes people to be antsy around each other. And then she's just saying like, yeah, we can't do that. So we have to create segregation. Imagine if it was a game studio where you just hire a team of black people and you're like, yeah, we're going to put you all on a team together and put you in this other building because it's better for you. It's not for us. We don't want to segregate you. You want to, it's your own safe space. We've basically gone backwards. I'm just kind of thinking like what some of the civil rights leaders would say to people like this. Not only did Lawlanders admit to discriminating, but she also said she was racist while attempting to defend her former employer, Sweet Baby Inc. On March 7th, she wrote, I just stopped taking y'all seriously when y'all start running around saying white people can experience racism because I did not suffer through 2020 for y'all to act like you weren't an ally to BLM 4 years later. Really? So it's basically saying like, oh, well, because of BLM, the riots that they were doing and all the looting and murdering that they were doing, by large mansions, for all the leaders involved with BLM, saying like, I didn't suffer through that, so you can act like you're not an ally. Well, you're not really helping your case if this is how you treat people that you're claiming are supposed to be your allies. Posting that tired a screenshot of the Google definition of racism. I just don't care anymore. Oh yeah, the definition that's saying that she's racist. She's like, no, you can't be racist because we don't have systemic power. You notice the only people who actually use that definition of racism where you have to have some type of form of power or whatever are the actual racists themselves. People like her. Everyone else is like, no, what you're doing is just pretty horrible. This is just like, I could go on and on about this. There's quite a bit more in this article about different remarks that she's made. But like I was saying earlier, this is just kind of the latest red flag when it comes to this Black Panther game, because this is the type of people that you have working on it. And she even says that they're deliberately not hiring white people. So you can think like, okay, this type of stuff, this DEI element doesn't really affect my enjoyment of the game. As long as the game is good, then I can still have fun with it. And I think that's a fair take for some people. They can just separate, the art from the artist. And if the game's good, then they can ignore all the behind the scenes aspect. Totally understand that. But you have to keep in mind, when you have someone like this who is saying, we're just trying to hire the best non-white people, that means they're hiring the best people within a small pool of potential applicants. To me, I think for a good game, you need to hire the best people, period. I don't care whether they're white, black, whatever their race is or whatever their gender or anything like that. You just want to have the best people for the job. And when you're narrowing it down to a specific group, especially a group that's a pretty small segment of the population, then I think it stands to reason that you're not necessarily going to have the best people working on it. And as a result, you might have stuff that's lacking, for lack of a better term. Maybe, I don't know, some of the mission design won't be too good, or maybe there might be a lot of bugs in the game, or maybe the graphics will not be up to par or something like that. Who knows? There could be a lot of issues with the game. And I think that comes from the idea that they're just looking for the best people who fit a certain demographic as opposed to the best people to work on it. And that's ultimately why a lot of this stuff fails. It's not because they're trying to push this in their games or put it publicly. It's because there's that culture at the company that is trying to basically say, we don't care if you're the best for the job, as long as you fit within this mold that we want you to fit in, then we're okay with whatever you're able to produce. And that's really, so when you see games that push it overtly, that's just a red flag, because it indicates that the company is not putting quality first. But that's just what I think about all this. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.